Greetings, everyone. It's lovely to see so many of you celebrating International Literacy Day month with USAID. As my colleague Louise said, I'm Dr. Joni Cohen-Mitchell. I'm the Policy and Technical Leadership Lead at USAID Center for Education in the Bureau for Development, Democracy, and Innovation. First of all, thanks again for joining us and really engaging with us today, and such a fascinating case study and some really encouraging results. This year's UNESCO theme for International Literacy Day and year is promoting literacy for a world in transition, building the foundation for sustainable and peaceful societies. As you can imagine, the theme signals the fundamental role of literacy in building more inclusive, peaceful, just, and sustainable societies. I can't think of a better example than what we're going to hear about today with USAID Rwanda. As you know, literacy and reading are foundational and necessary for any other academic progress. Partner countries are more likely to prioritize reading and literacy when they have the data on current achievement levels. This 12-year retrospective study of our investment in basic education provides us and the sector with important evidence and lessons on the impact of partnership with the government and the people of Rwanda on learning outcomes. As the largest bilateral donor to basic education and one of the leaders in the efforts around foundational skills, literacy, emotional and social emotional learning, USAID will continue to support partner country efforts to ensure that all children bounce back and thrive after COVID and gain foundational learning skills. I'm thrilled to introduce Dr. Catherine Honeyman, who will present the study and its findings, followed by a very engaging group of panelists who will further discuss these findings and tell us about the implications they have for programming and evidence use. Let me tell you a little bit about Dr. Honeyman. She's USAID's Rwanda Senior Education Specialist. She has spent 20 years promoting education quality, youth training, employment, and youth leadership in a variety of middle and low-income country contexts, including Rwanda, Colombia, Honduras, El Salvador, Pakistan, Algeria, Jordan, and Uzbekistan. To say we can learn something from Dr. Catherine Honeyman is an understatement. Prior to her current role, Dr. Honeyman led the global youth workforce and entrepreneurship practice for the nonprofit organization World Learning, based in Washington, D.C., and was also managing director of the research consulting firm Ishya Consulting, based in Kigali. Dr. Honeyman holds a PhD in comparative and international education with a minor in business and applied economics, an MA in educational policy from the University of Wisconsin, and a BA in social studies from Harvard. I'm thrilled to welcome her, and she will take it away from here. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Joni. I appreciate the introduction. This is not really my story, so what I'd like to do is start by talking about a paradox today. The paradox is that while most of the world experienced learning loss during COVID-19, here in Rwanda, we actually saw learning gains over the past several years. We discovered this recently in our 2022 baseline assessment for a current activity called Tunoze Gusoma. And this is a story we'd like to tell you about today. But first, I want to back up a little bit. I want to back up actually to 2011 when USAID's programming and early literacy began here in Rwanda. You can see a number of years of investments and focus on this issue. We coordinated with the government of Rwanda and with many development partners, including the UK, World Bank, UNICEF, Save the Children. For all of us, this is an important issue, but USAID Rwanda decided to focus in and really invest in the issue of Kinyarwanda language literacy. Over this time, we've been able to implement national scale programming and really been the major investor in this area. So just last year, we asked the Collaborating, Learning and Adapting activity here to help us take a retrospective look at what we have done over these last 12 years and what this work has achieved. So let's look on the next slide. Here you can see that through this assistance from the CLA activity, they were able to look at dozens of reports and research studies over the past year and help us kind of tell the story and piece together what we have done and who we have reached. So this slide shows that over the past years, we have grown our activities to directly reach 100% of the children in primary grades 1, 2, and 3. And we've also added now a focus on pre-primary and other forms of ECD. Here you can see the bars are students in the system, and the shaded area shows our reach in recent programming. Our programs also trained 2 out of 3 primary school teachers, which is essentially all of the teachers in the first 3 grades of primary school. We've also extended that now to training pre-primary school teachers, and we've trained 1 or 2 leaders per school multiple times over this period. Across these activities, we've distributed 1 book for every P1 to P3 pupil multiple times. And these are textbooks, teacher's guides, supplementary readers, and other forms of books. We can tell you that during COVID-19, when schools were shut down, a lot of these resources went home. So now our schools don't have as many books as they used to, but this was a successful initiative, we believe, as you'll see in some of the coming data. We have a new activity, Ibitabo Kuritwese, which is focusing now on the market system for teaching and learning materials and the book supply chain here. In addition to those inputs to the system, our implementing partners have worked hard to have some influence and to collaborate within the broader national education system. These are some of the areas that we have really worked on. For example, raising the profile and understanding of the importance of mother tongue literacy as the foundation for literacy in any other language. We established the Soma Rwanda platform together with the government of Rwanda, and this has been sustained for many years now with the involvement of dozens of stakeholders across the country. We introduced improvements to the national curriculum and teaching and learning materials to effectively teach literacy. We promoted classroom book collections, community libraries, and writing competitions that are now sustained through other means. We've worked on pre-service teacher training. We introduced the concept of school mentorship, which the government has carried forward for many years now. And we improved school-based continuing professional development structures. And finally, and importantly for many of us, our work helped influence and introduce new national assessment practices, such as encouraging teachers to conduct one-on-one assessments of children to really understand what they're able to do and how to assist them. All that work, together with the government and other development partners, has led to some large-scale education sector and community improvements. I want to highlight a couple of them for you here. For example, the CLA retrospective research looked at on-time progression rates through the education system. Here in the dark blue, you can see a cohort that began their primary education in 2010. Over the 6 years of primary school here, you can see that only 28% of them were able to complete and advance on time every year. This changed during the time of our investments in early literacy. You can see the 2015 cohort of students advanced, many more of them advanced each year, with a result that 45% of them completed primary school on time. There's still obviously plenty of room for improvement here, but what we want to highlight is this is a trend that shows a strengthening education system that is serving students better every year. We also worked hard on and strengthened home and community support for literacy interventions and reading. Here you can see our data from different activities. And one thing I want to highlight is that in 2014, less than half of parents reported that they read to their child at home. In 2016, under Mureke Dusome, that this data point went up to 59%. And through their project, that was improved on and made progress year on year. In 2020, you can see that reached over 80%. And 2 years later, when we conducted a new baseline, we had achieved 72% of caregivers who were sustaining this practice of engaging in reading activities at home. All these efforts have had an impact, and this is what we were so excited to see when we did this retrospective study. Over the period of 2011 to 2022, we conducted the early grade reading assessment, EGRA, 6 times in 2011, 14, 15, 16, 18, and 2022. And we'd like to share some of those findings with you. Just to give you an overview, an EGRA contains different tasks for a student to show what they're able to do. And this starts at the level of recognizing letters. But some of the most important tasks on the assessment are a reading passage like this one. I'm showing this in English, but we assess in Kinyarwanda. And here you can see that we're looking particularly at whether or not a child can read any words at all. They're given a whole passage. Can they identify any of these words? If they can't, we're classifying them as non-readers. Strong readers are the percentage of second grade pupils who can meet a certain level of fluency. They can read quickly enough to get through the passage and hopefully understand it. And then we also look at their comprehension. We ask some direct questions and some inference questions to see if they really understood what they read. This slide shows our main findings from that work. And we're highlighting here the most comparable years. So you can see 2014, 2018, and 2022 had independent national samples of second grade pupils at the end of second grade. You can also see on the left that in 2011, we assessed primary 4 and primary 6 pupils. And in primary 4, we still had pupils who couldn't read in that year. But focusing on the second grade pupils, you can see that over this time period, the percentage of non-readers has decreased, the percentage of strong readers has increased, and comprehension rates have also increased. Now 57% of all second grade students are passing this comprehension benchmark. You can see that the picture it's not a simple story here. We see some up and down. In particular, we see that 2018, there was a drop in performance across the board. Our best understanding is that this was probably due to the larger sample size, the much larger sample size in 2018, that might have perhaps given a more accurate picture of the national landscape. But there could be other explanations as well that we're still investigating. Regardless, the big picture story here is that Rwandan children are reading better than ever. To conclude on our study findings, you can see that although we're still facing significant challenges, we also have documented notable significant improvements. And we're coming back here to that paradox. This improvement happened before COVID-19 and also during COVID-19. This discovery prompted us to want to share this experience more broadly and really show how these different efforts, this national scale, the efforts to work with homes and communities, the system level influences that we have worked on have all led to impact, and we hope will continue to improve literacy rates in the years to come. Thank you so much for listening to this summary of our research. And I'd like to now introduce my colleague, Sharon Haba. Sharon is our Deputy Director here at USAID Rwanda, and she's really lived a lot of this story in her personal and professional life. She was a faculty member at the University of Rwanda College of Education. She served in the Ministry of Education, and she has also supported our different projects on the implementing partner side as an expert technical staff. She's going to lead a panel discussion in just a minute. We just need a moment to reorganize our room to welcome our panel.
Thank you, Katie. Thanks everyone for attending this panel. I'd like to introduce our panelists. Here with me is Mr. Camille Kanamugire. He's the head of the Department of Examinations and Assessment at the National Examinations and School Inspection Authority. Camille has seen everything that Katie has talked about since USAID's investment in Rwanda started as inspector, and now heading the actual assessment work that contributes to some of what we have seen here today. Camille, you're welcome. I'd also like to introduce Alphonsine. Alphonsine, the surveyors, is a very experienced head teacher. She has worked with all three USAID activities, L3, Somomeni, and Noze Gusoma. She has led lots of reforms in her school as a leader, as a teacher herself, and she will share those insights with us shortly. Welcome, Alphonsine. We have Leo Mujenzi online. Leo, if you could kindly introduce yourself. This is the time. So Leo is still trying to join. As soon as he joins, he will let us know. So we will proceed with Camille. Camille, would you please share with us what are some of the major changes that you have seen in terms of early literacy instruction and children's abilities over the past 10 to 15 years?
Okay. Thank you, Sharon. It's a great pleasure for me to be here to share my experience as someone who has been in education for a long time and who have seen different projects introduced in the education system, especially to boost or to improve the literacy aspects, especially at early grade learning, meaning focus on lower primary. First of all, I can say that over the 10 to 15 years ago, with teaching Kinyarwanda, I can say as usual, but with the introduction of different teaching method of learning, we improved the way teachers teach Kinyarwanda and numeracy through different projects that were introduced by USAID in the education system, mainly L3, Somomeni, and now to Noze Gusoma. I can say that basically we learned how to concentrate on individual learning, especially with improving interaction between teachers and learners, which is a good aspect to address some issues in our education system due to especially overcrowded classroom, meaning so many students who need support of one teacher. But this was a problem because when you have an overcrowded classroom, you don't have enough time to deal with every learner's weaknesses, mainly when you want to learn how to read we don't have time to reach everyone, and this is an issue. By introducing the method of improving the reading process, there was improvement in knowing who are students who have difficulties in reading, for example, those who can't read any words, those who are in the middle, and those who who meet great expectations, meaning that they are above the average, if I can say. This improved the follow-up of students with learning difficulties, because if someone can't read one word, you know where you have to concentrate efforts in order to improve individual learning. Again, with those projects, they were introduction of teaching and learning materials, which means that even though you want to improve the way students are reading, you have also to provide teaching and learning materials so that they have enough books to read. And also, this has to go hand in hand with the training of teachers. Of course, there was also improvement in the follow-up of these activities through mentorship, through training in TTCs. This is because TTCs train future trained teachers, and when they are taught how to improve the teaching methods, we are investing in the future, because once they are in the field, they have competencies and skills to support children. That is what I can say, to mention a few, but really, as the presentation shows, there was improvement in the education systems as far as early grading or literacy is concerned.
Thank you very much, Camille, for sharing those insights from your many years of experience. I'll now ask Alphonsine the same question. What major changes have you seen in terms of early literacy instruction and children's abilities over the last 10, 15 years?
Thank you so much, Sharon. As you said, I'm Alphonsine. I'm the head teacher of the school. GS Kachiri 2 is located in the South District. As my colleague said, me, I'm going to base on the school level, because he said so much on background of the project, anything, some many, and it was summer. So let me talk about it on the school level. At my school, and where I was before coming at Kachiro, very some many, and it was summer, helped us on behalf of learners, on behalf of teachers, and on behalf of the society of school. On behalf of teachers, all Kinyarwanda teachers have been trained by L3, by Somenya, and by Project Soma. And when they was trained, they have given teachers guide in Kinyarwanda, and all runners have been beneficiated books, one book for one learner, which is good and different from what was used before. Because before we had one book for at least 4 or 5 learners, But with the 83 somenye and tumaze gusoma, we had one book for one learner, which is good. And all learners have the benefit to bring their book with them at home, at everywhere they were. They go with their books. And at the school level, we had also, I can call it like a CPD for Kinyarwanda teachers, where they have to go and to stay together 1 hour or 2 hours and to exchange and to train and to learn from others how to teach and how to ameliorate their teaching, their Kinyarwanda teaching. And at the school level, our Kinyarwanda has been improved. The way learners read, it has been improved, very, very remarkable, if I can say like that. And I can add that we have been rich in material, different materials, teachers guide, Kinyarwanda teachers guide, and the learners books. So I think it's
Thank you, Alphonsine. That's very, very good to hear your experience from the school. And you have touched on how you both touched on how these USAID investments have influenced those changes. Let's hear how it has impacted you personally. Let's start with Camille. Is there anything from what you have shared, what you didn't share, that has impacted and inspired you personally as an educationist?
Okay, thank you. As I said, I had the opportunity to see how all these projects worked in education. And what I can say personally, it's in innovation in education can improve something, especially what I learned from this project. For example, the introduction of benchmarks for education, where you can compare how different students perform in different districts, can give an idea on what have been improved in terms of numbers. We used to teach and to observe lesson, for example, when I was an inspector, but we could not realize, for example, when we visit a school, how many students can't read any one word, for example, which was a challenge, especially even you intervene in a school or in a district, you want to know what are the number of children that need support, what support they need, based on the level where they are, meaning that this helps us to know how to help students or learners with different abilities, meaning that those with low performance need more support than those beyond expectations. That's one. Another aspect was that over the years, we saw improvement, especially in performance of students in Kinyarwanda. As one who is in the assessment, we saw that across the years, we have seen improvement in performance in Kinyarwanda, especially in primary, in the basics living examination, because once you train a learner since the early age, he has the support helps to run in the upper primary and to finish lower level, finish primary level with competencies or skills you expect. That is seen through the performance. We improved the performance in Kinyarwanda. This goes hand in hand with improvement in the other aspects than reading, especially writing and comprehension, which were the main aspects of these projects. Beyond this, also improving the way students read can inspire, for example, for other subjects, because once they know how to read, they can apply also this in other subjects. And this is seen through the way students are interested in staying at the school, meaning reducing, for example, the repetition rate, increasing the completion rate, and so on and so forth. Across the years, we have seen impact of this project on the education system, and especially in literacy.
Thank you very much, Camille. I mean, you have a very big portfolio as the National Examinations and School Inspection Authority, so you're able to see how such lessons can apply to the other subjects. Thank you very much. Before I come to you, Alphonsine, I'd like to go to Leon Mugenzi. Leon, welcome. We're very happy you can join. You lead a very important department at the Rwanda Basic Education Board, the Department of Teacher Development and Management. But you have also lived through, you walked this journey, the literacy, Kinyarwanda literacy journey with USAID. You're currently the focal point for the Tunoze Gusoma activity. And you really provide a lot of support there, and you have a very good understanding of the Kinyarwanda literacy landscape over the years. Please share with us some of the major changes that you have seen in terms of early literacy instruction and children's abilities over the years. And also go ahead to share with us any way that you have been impacted and inspired personally over the years. Over to you, Leo. Okay, let me go to Alphonsine and give you a minute. So Alphonsine, anything you'd like to share with us about how these investments have inspired or impacted you personally as a teacher? As a parent. Thank you very much.
As a head teacher, every head teacher is happy when he sees her learners or his learners know how to read very well their mother tongue, Kinyarwanda. When you visit a teacher and you see how learners are reading, we are so happy. That is what I appreciate before. And as this is as a head teacher, and as a parent, if I see my kid come with a book in hand at home and asking to have a time for reading, it is wonderful. It is very good because you have time to help him or her. You have time to ask him or her questions. And when you go with him somewhere, you ask him to read something. and he's really able to read it. It's very impressionate. And this is a comment from parents when they come at the school and tell us, we are happy our runners know to read very well Kinyarwanda. And we know that when you know to read our mother tongue, it can facilitate to read the other languages, the other like English and the others. So it is very good to me and to the school and to teachers to see learners know very well how to read and how their marks improve, because Kinyarwanda impacts so much on their percentages. And I appreciate also methods used and how we evaluate our learners. We use weekly evaluation. We use also end lesson evaluation. We use also end unit evaluation and end term evaluation. All those evaluation help our learners to improve, because if you fail in a week evaluation, in the end of the lesson, you will improve. After improve again in the end unity and in the end lesson. That is why in national exams, they perform well because they have been evaluated before and so much. So that is why the way evaluation improve, the increase is the way the learners improve their marks also.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Alphonsine. Leo, are you able to connect now? The floor is yours. Okay, Leo, when you're able to, just come off mute and we will give you the floor. We will soon be going to a Q&A. But before, and then I would like to invite participants to drop any questions or comments there. But before we get there, I would like to ask our panelists, starting with Alphonsine, one question. Can you please tell us about any obstacles that are still preventing children from learning to read in Rwanda? As we saw, the progress is very impressive, but there are still some children who are not yet there. What can we do to achieve all children reading within the next 10 years?
Okay, thank you so much. Teachers have been trained, even head teachers have been trained, even head teachers, and the learners are taught how to read, how to write Kinyarwanda, but we still have some challenges. Like some learners have family issues, problems. So when they go back, we have a day school. When our learners go back to their families, there are some of them who cannot have time to revise and to read, even if they have books, even if they have everything, but they do not have time to revise and to read. Even they do not have someone to help them, because if they go back with like homework with their book and they need to read, if they do a mistakes, they do not have someone to help them. We also have some parents who have family problems like conflict between them, father and mother, or conflict between parents. When they are in conflict, they can't help their learners, even they can't. The climate of studying is not well, and they can't help learners to improve and to revise their lessons. So Also to help those learners at the school level, we have few time for remedial to help them, but we need also parents to help them and in order to facilitate our school, to facilitate teachers. Because if the teacher gave a homework and the learner come back with the homework, it's very challenging to the teacher because the teacher, he or her, have to revise and to repeat and to help all learners. So the time is limited. Thank you.
Thank you, Alphonsine. Camille, anything you want to quickly add on the obstacles and what can be done?
What I can say, she said it should be aligned with the current level of literacy, because we do have some families who are not enough literate to support children once they are at home, which can hinder the advancement we have seen during the years the project have spent in literacy. Again, learners keep increasing over the years. So if we don't keep also increasing the teaching and learning materials, that should be a problem, because if we have people ratio textbook, for example, for 1-to-1, if we don't keep that that ratio, because of the increasing number of students, that can reduce the quality or the number of students who can read correctly. Because if they were to share books, for example, instead of having, for example, one his own or her own book, that can reduce the level of reading. Also, one aspect maybe, I don't have figures, but given the turnover of teachers, we need to strengthen training, especially speedy, so that the new recruited teachers get trained so as to sustain the achievement. This means that we will need refresher trainings for teachers, because those trained can leave the system. And if they are new entrants, they need also to be at the right level. I can say this on what can hinder our achievement over the years and what can be done to avoid those obstacles that can hinder what we have achieved over the years. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Camille. Thank you, Alphonsine. Leo, you come off mute if you're able to fix the microphone problem. Otherwise, I will proceed to wrap up our panel. I just want to thank all our panelists. You have shared with us your national level outlook and perspective, as well as the school level. And I just want to share, Alphonsine, that. Okay, I'll pause for Leo to speak. Leo, over to you.
Thank you very much, Sharon. I'm very sorry that I joined late, but I had another important meeting. Do you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Yes, thank you very much. I'm very sorry for joining you late, but yeah, I'm very happy that I tried to follow this conversation. It was very interesting. and also the answer, the question asked by Sharon about the major changes that I have seen in terms of literacy, instruction, and student abilities over the past 10 or 15 years. So, first of all, what I would like to share with you is that as head of the department in charge of teacher development and management, including teacher training, the major changes I've seen is that, for example, when I was in so many projects, we have seen really ability to read for children because of so many efforts. Yes, put in that area when we train teachers how to use different approaches so that children can read and learn very quick. So this is one of the things I have seen because teachers was very happy to learn and to see exactly how to support the children. And right now, what I can say is that for Kinyarwanda, for example, children are able to read, and the words to read per minutes have been increased. So I'm very happy that this change is really seen in our education sector. So and also the way of training our teachers in terms of supporting our children in literacy. I have seen that the teachers now are well trained, and this training is helpful for them, not only for literacy but also for other subjects. But as we are talking about literacy, teachers now are very active, and this is a major change I can share with you. So, and also with this project of Tunoza Diploma, the efforts made or the changes seen in the previous project of so many, the Tunoza Diploma now is strengthening this one because it's still supporting our Kinyarwanda teachers to support again our children, our students to be able to read and to write also in mother tongue. So this is very important. As a focal person of this project now, to know the Gusoma, I can say that I'm very happy that these efforts is still there. These changes is still there. We can continue to support our children, our learners, so that the issue of literacy, challenges in literacy are addressed very well. So thank you very much. That was the question I understood just before I had this program. But if there is another question, I can also try to answer.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Leo. Unfortunately, we are running out of time, but I want to appreciate you making the time. Camille, thank you very much. And Alphonsine, the work that USAID does is only made possible by the excellent collaboration that we have with the government of Rwanda. So we are very happy that you both could make it, and Alphonsine as well. Just one comment, Alphonsine, we have another activity called Homes and Communities, as well as Camille, the things that you mentioned, we take note of that. It's clear that we need to have the two interventions speaking to each other so that we can see the results that we want to see in the next 10 years. So thank you very much. And I'll now turn it over to Jenny for the rest of the steps. Thank you.
Well, thank you. This was an incredibly insightful panel, in addition to the data that you shared earlier. And we are so grateful that our distinguished panelists took the time to be with us, along with the USAID Rwanda team and Catherine Honeyman again. I think, unfortunately, we don't have time for questions, but I just want to throw in a couple things, and you started to make mention of them. People ask, so what's next? What's the role of technology? Where is USAID going? And I think these are all critical questions that you started to talk about, the need for things to overlap, talk to each other and really integrate for a fulsome approach to how we really support mother tongue literacy in Rwanda and everywhere in the world. So we're going to get the questions to the team, and we can see if they can answer, and we can add it to the roundup that we're going to do. I encourage you to go back to Edulinks throughout the month that we're celebrating International Literacy Day and month, and really embrace the need to think strategically, like our colleagues here in Rwanda, about how you really move the needle for all learners to read and use literacy and thrive. So we encourage you to take advantage of what this webinar offered and all the resources that AID has, and share with us more. And we're working together for a peaceful and prosperous future, and we could not do it without you. Have a great rest of your day, evening, and we'll see you again. Thank you.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye.